100 FM, The Pike, Worcester's classic hits. I'm Bruce Palmer, and boy, have we ever got a special guest who's come to join us today. We'd like to say a big good morning to Denny Laine of the Moody Blues. Good morning, Denny.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm great, and I'm just delighted to have your company because here's a guy who has been a part of the Pike Library for as long as I can remember. Denny, we got to go back a ways. It all began when the Moody Blues came together long about, what I'm thinking, like 64-ish, right around the beginning of the first British invasion?
Yep, that's about it.
You're from Birmingham, am I correct?
That's right.
Where and how did you and the rest of the Blues come together in the first place?
Well, two of the Moody Blues, Mike Pind and Ray Thomas, were in Germany playing for the American troops, and they wanted to put a band together to go out there, so they asked me. But we didn't end up going back to Germany. We ended up getting discovered and taken down to London, which is really what I wanted to do. And we had a hit, with Go Now, and then the rest is history, as they say.
It really is. And in the British invasion, that was a very powerful style of music, a blues tint. And I'm going to guess that's the kind of music you loved and wanted to bring further into the British invasion, just like groups like, say, the Animals, correct?
Yeah. Well, we had a piano, which made us slightly different, and then Ray Thomas started to learn how to play the flute. It gave us a different sound. We had, it was like blues, progressive blues in a way, that's why we call the Moody Blues. We took our basic thing. Blues was our roots, but we developed it into sort of more of a, progressive thing.
At the time in the 60s, to look to the American music market, that was kind of a musical jackpot because there was a lot of success to be found and money to be made by breaking into the music of the States, correct?
Oh yeah, that's where we heard our music through Radio Luxembourg. We heard the American Forces Network. That was it. And then we developed our own thing after that. You couldn't just try and copy people. And so we kind of, took it our own place next.
Sure, yeah. We're speaking this morning with Denny Laine, of course, longtime Moody Blues man, who's going to be coming into the area to one of the most historic venues we know, and that, of course, is the Bull Run restaurant. Now, Denny, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the Bull Run's history dates back to when we were still just the colonies, because it dates to 1740.
Well, good company there.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, I love those places, though. Those places that have had a lot of good music through there. It's a good feeling to be in places like that. And the audiences are always great, too.
Over the years, the Moody Blues style went through a few different adjustments. Certainly the Moody Blues of the 60s was different in its sound from the Moody Blues of the 70s, and different still even a little bit as we went into the 80s, from the Gemini Dream era to Your Wildest Dreams. And today, what's the Denny Laine Show all about? Does it bring all those styles back together again?
Well, no, I only do the first Moody Blues album, which is called The Magnificent Moodies. Mm-hmm. It's been released as a box set, and I do some of the songs off that. Right. I also Band on the Run album in the same show, so it's a mixture of the two. The two albums that I'm most, known for, if you like.
Sure, exactly. And known well, I might add. Tell me something. I've always been curious about this. During the period when the British sound first was coming to America, say in 64, 5, 6, and there were so many distinctive groups, from the Moody Blues to the Animals, of course, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Searchers, the Zombies, the list goes on. Was there a certain cohesiveness between all of the groups, despite the fact that you were challenging one another for chart space? You all were on sort of the same team in a way, weren't you?
Yeah, well, we used to work together a lot. You got to remember that you would go out on a show and, the Yardbirds would be at the Marquee and we'd be at the Marquee the same night. We'd be sharing the stage. And that's how we got to know each other. And also, a lot of these bands that came out from out of town, like the Animals, for example, we got friendly with. We had a lot of parties and stuff like that. But you mentioned the Zombies, of course, they just got inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I saw them a couple of days ago. I was a weekend at the Fest for Beatles fans. And I know them well. And Colin, had a big hit with one of my songs, Say You Don't Mind. So I know them really well.
Would you have believed, say 55 years ago, you're just starting to connect with the other guys, would you have believed that 55 years later you'd be where you are now, looking at such a wonderful musical history and enjoying every minute of it?
I've been lucky in the sense that I've been part of a lot of great songs, and I can go out there and perform them. And I'm also doing a solo show where I go out and tell stories and that kind of thing as well.
Sure.
And the audience likes that thing with an audience where they feel like they're part of the show, you know.
Well, fair enough. And I'd have to say that we, as fans of the Moody Blues, have been lucky as well for all of these years, because you've been so prolific, God willing, so healthy, and so happy with what you do that you've been able to provide us with over a half a century of great music. And, well, as a group, we're thankful to you, Denny.
Oh, wow.
Well, once again, it's Denny Laine coming into the Bull Run Restaurant in Shirley, Massachusetts. The show is coming up on April 14th, is not to be missed. And, boy, when you get there, Denny, we're going to have to saddle up to the bar together and hoist a couple of pints, huh?
Okay.
And by the way, just so you know, even if the Bull Run is from 1740, nobody is going to be holding any grudges against that little skirmish we had back in the 1770s together.
Well, I should hope not.
Hey, as our special guest this morning, Denny, it is such a pleasure to have you with us. Safe travels, and we will look so much forward to seeing you at the Bull Run in just a matter of days.
All right. Thanks a lot, Bruce. All the best.